Growing up in my family felt like standing in the middle of a never-ending storm, where I was always the umbrella. There was always something. A missed mortgage payment, a surprise medical bill, a wedding that needed funding, a kid's braces, or just the random, "We're short this month" call. And every time, it was me they turned to. It started small. I'd help my mom with her credit card debt, wire money to cover my brother's rent when he lost his job, or pay for my sister's baby shower venue. When she wanted something extra special, it escalated quickly. I paid off my parents' house when they fell behind on the mortgage. I covered my niece's college tuition when my brother couldn't manage it. I even funded my cousin's destination wedding because it's family, and family sticks together. At family gatherings, birthdays, Christmas dinners, random cookouts, I was the quiet hero in the background, the one they all toasted in speeches without really seeing. They'd clap me on the back, call me the dependable one, our rock. My dad would say, "Thank God for you, son. Don't know what we'd do without you." And I'd smile, feeling both proud and heavy, like I was carrying the weight of everyone's dreams and mistakes on my shoulders. They said I was the glue holding the family together, and I believed it. I believed that's what love looked like. Helping, supporting, stepping in when others couldn't. I never questioned the pattern. When they asked, I gave. When they cried, I fixed. When they dreamed, I paid. Because in my heart, I thought, this is what family is for. This is what being a man means. And if I didn't hold them up, who would? I thought I was building something good. I thought I was safe in their gratitude. I thought I mattered. I didn't know then how wrong I was. It happened on a Saturday morning. A few months ago, I was scrolling through Facebook when I saw the photos, dozens of them. My sister's wedding, the one I'd paid for in full, the venue, the catering, the band, all of it. I thought I'd been helping her start a new life, thought I was part of the celebration, but I wasn't there. I wasn't invited, not a single call, not a text. They had planned the entire event, sent out invitations, printed programs, and I wasn't on the guest list. There they were in the pictures. My parents smiling, my brother in a tux, nieces and nephews dancing. Everyone in matching colors. Everyone except me. At first, I thought it had to be a mistake. Maybe they forgot. Maybe it was a small gathering. But no, the captions told the whole story. Best day ever. Couldn't have been more perfect. Grateful to everyone who made this happen. Grateful. That word hit like a punch to the stomach. I sat there staring at the screen, my chest tight, my hands shaking. I'd written the checks, paid the deposits, and even covered last-minute floral upgrades because it's family, you understand. But in the photos, I wasn't part of the family. I wasn't even a footnote. The shock quickly turned into a burning mix of anger and betrayal. I could hear my mom's voice in my head. "You're so generous, honey, always looking out for us." I could see my dad's nod of approval, my brother's casual thanks. It all felt like a lie, like they'd been using me. And the second they didn't need my money, they left me behind. I sat in that moment, raw and hollow, and I realized I wasn't the family savior. I was their ATM, and they didn't even have the decency to pretend otherwise anymore. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in the dark, the glow of my laptop screen lighting up the room, scrolling through every post, every tag, every comment they'd left behind. I dug deeper, tracing payments from my bank account. Wedding deposits, caterer fees, venue transfers, all of it, every dollar I had put toward their special day. And it wasn't just the wedding. As I looked back, I started piecing it all together. The birthday parties, the family trips, the medical bills I'd covered. I pulled up old text messages, emails, bank statements. I created folders on my desktop. Family wedding, medical help, mortgage support, miscellaneous transfers. Each one filled with screenshots, PDFs, voice memos I had saved from calls where they'd pleaded for help. I even found a few voicemails. My mom's voice, sweet and light. "Honey, could you cover the florist bill? You're such a blessing to us." I started printing everything. The sound of the printer filled the room, a mechanical, steady hum that felt almost like a heartbeat. I watched the pages stack up, one after another, until there were piles across my table. This wasn't just a paper trail. It was a roadmap of my life, proof of every time I stepped in, every time they leaned on me, and every time they took without a second thought. My mind raced as I worked. I wasn't sure yet what I'd do with all of this, but I knew I needed it. I needed the truth laid out in front of me, black and white. No more gaslighting. No more, It's not that big of a deal. They had taken me for granted for years, and now I was finally seeing it for what it was. A pattern of entitlement, a system built on my back. And I wasn't going to let it slide, not this time. I stayed up until dawn, categorizing every file, labeling folders, organizing digital copies and hard copies. When I finally sat back and looked at the stacks of proof, it felt like armor. For the first time in years, I felt the smallest flicker of control returning to me. This wasn't just about money, it was about respect. And they were about to learn what it meant to lose both. 2 weeks later, they were throwing another party, my parents' anniversary, 50 years together, the family event of the season, they'd called it. Though I only found out from a neighbor, they hadn't invited me, of course, but I showed up anyway. I arrived unannounced. Dressed sharp in a suit I hadn't worn in years, the venue was one of those fancy banquet halls, all gold accents and dim lights. As I walked in, I could see the surprise ripple through the room. Conversations paused mid-sentence, forks hovered above plates. Eyes darted in my direction. I didn't say a word at first. I walked straight to the projector they'd set up for a slideshow of family memories, old photos, happy moments, the perfect facade. I plugged in my USB drive, my hand steady. The first slide flashed on the screen. A history of my family's debt, paid in full by me. Gasps echoed across the room. Slide after slide, I laid it all out. The wedding invoices, the mortgage payments, the tuition transfers, screenshots of texts asking for money, bank statements with their names in the memo lines, a spreadsheet showing the total, over $300,000. I turned to face them, my voice even. For years, I've been the one you turned to. When you needed a hand, I gave it. When you wanted something special, I paid for it. When you fell behind, I covered you, and you called it family. I paused, scanning the stunned faces. My dad's jaw was clenched. My mom's hands trembled. My siblings looked everywhere but at me. But here's the thing, I continued, my voice firm, rising over the stunned silence. You didn't invite me tonight, just like you didn't invite me to the wedding I paid for, or the birthdays I funded, or the trips I covered. You took the money, but you left me out. I could see the panic in their eyes. Some guests were whispering, a few awkwardly excusing themselves, others just staring, wide-eyed, as if they couldn't believe what they were hearing. And now, I finished, you're going to learn that actions have consequences. I'm done being your safety net. No more money, no more rescues, no more support. You'll stand on your own now. I unplugged the USB, gathered my folders, and turned to leave. The room buzzed with stunned murmurs, a few gasps, someone crying quietly. My mother called my name, her voice breaking, but I didn't stop. For the first time in my life, I felt the power shift. They weren't the ones in control anymore. I was, and I was walking out, free. It didn't take long for the cracks to show. My sister's wedding plans? Canceled within a week. Her fiancé's family had seen the slideshow. They weren't about to marry into a family built on lies and handouts. My brother's freelance clients? Gone. After I quietly sent them records of the unpaid loans I'd covered for him, all while he claimed to be a self-made success. My mom's church friends stopped calling. The whispers spread fast. How they'd used me, shut me out, and then pretended everything was fine. The family tried damage control. My dad posted a long-winded, misunderstood note on Facebook, trying to spin the story as a family disagreement blown out of proportion. But it didn't stick. Screenshots had already leaked. People talked. Former friends distanced themselves. Invitations dried up. I watched it all unfold from a distance. I wasn't gloating, not exactly. But there was a strange, quiet satisfaction in knowing the truth was finally out. They had built their lives on my back. And now that I had stepped away, the whole thing crumbled. I wasn't their scapegoat anymore. I wasn't their safety net. I was free. And they were left to face the reality they'd created without me. After the dust settled, I packed my bags and left the town I'd spent my whole life in. I moved 2 states over, into a small, quiet town near the mountains. I rented a cabin, simple but cozy, with a view of the woods. I switched careers too. Left behind my corporate job and opened my own woodworking shop. It was something I'd always wanted to do but never had the time or freedom for. I started waking up early, not to answer desperate family calls, but to watch the sunrise with a cup of coffee in hand. I learned to hike. I took long walks with no destination, just breathing in the cold, clean air, and I drew boundaries, hard and clear. I blocked every family number, changed my phone, deleted old chats, unfollowed everyone on social media when they tried reaching out through mutual friends. I told them to respect my space, and they did. Eventually, for the first time in my life, I wasn't defined by what I gave others. I wasn't a rescuer, a wallet, a fixer. I was just me. I felt a strange, peaceful emptiness, a quiet I'd never known before, and in that quiet, I started to build a life that was truly mine. It happened 3 months later, a surprise call from an unknown number, one I didn't recognize. Against my better judgment, I answered, my mother's voice, trembling, pleaded, honey, please, we didn't mean for it to happen like this. We're family. She launched into a rehearsed speech, how they missed me, how things had gotten confused, how they never realized how much I did for them. My brother chimed in, too, voice tight. We're sorry, okay? Let's just move on. It's not that serious. Even my sister called, crying about how her life had fallen apart, asking if I could help her just this once. They wanted to rewind, erase, start fresh, but I didn't flinch. I listened, calm and detached, letting their words wash over me like static. When they finished, I spoke, quiet, firm, final. No, I'm done. I'm not coming back. I hope you figure things out, but I'm not your solution anymore. Silence hung heavy. I ended the call, blocked the number, sat back and exhaled. It was over, and for the first time in a long time, I felt truly free. Looking back, I see it clearly now. I spent years mistaking obligation for love, thinking family was about sacrifice without limits. I believed that giving endlessly meant I mattered, but all it did was teach them to take without gratitude, to expect without asking, to erase me from their joy while counting on me for their debts. Family isn't about bloodlines or shared holidays. It's about respect, trust, and mutual care. And when one side does all the giving while the other side keeps taking, that's not family, that's exploitation. I learned that setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's necessary. That cutting ties isn't heartless, it's survival. That my worth isn't measured by how much I can sacrifice, but by the life I choose to build for myself. I am not their safety net. I am not their rescue plan. I am not their ATM. I am a man who chooses himself. Speech balloon if they erase me from their celebrations, I erase them from my life.